This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you.
You ready to do a mic test? Here's a mic test coming to you this morning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mic test in the room. Live sound coming from the venue. Yep. Turning the mic off. Is that okay?
This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you. This is an audio check. If you can't hear this announcement, please ensure that your audio is not muted on your computer and your speaker volume is adjusted. Thank you.
Everyone, I'm Todd Payne. I'm President and CEO of Amicalola EMC. On behalf of our Board of Directors, I would like to welcome you here today an announcement of our broadband expansion project with ETC. I will begin by welcoming our special guest. From our State Senate, we have Majority Whip Steve Gooch with us today. Thank you, Steve. Senator Chuck Payne, I don't believe I see him. He was planning on attending. We have State Representative Rick Jaspers. Thank you, Rick. Sidney Smith and Laura Alton from the Office of U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler. We have Joel Katz, Chief of Staff for U.S. Representative Doug Collins. Amy Carter, Georgia Department of Economic Development. Deanna Perry, Georgia Department of Community Affairs. And Tom Krause, Georgia Public Service Commission. I'd like to welcome our members of our Amicalola EMC Board of Directors. We have Vice Chairman John Bennett, Director from Cherokee County. We have our Secretary Treasurer, Director Randall Ponder, representing Gilmer County. Director James Bryan, representing Pickens and Gordon County. Director Edward Tucker, representing Lumpkin County, and Director Reggie Stowers, representing Dawson and Lumpkin County. Also, we have Jason Smith, Chief Operating Officer with ETC, and his team is here with us today. And I'll let Jason introduce them in just a few moments. With the passage of rural broadband legislation last year, Senate Bill 2 gave the green light for EMCs across the state of Georgia, including Amicalola EMC, to contribute to the expansion of broadband. Amicalola began to consider how we could accomplish this while maintaining the core mission of providing electricity to our members. When we looked at the broadband providers in our area, we had to answer some questions. Do we want to compete in these areas where our local providers have not been able to get to in years, or we want to help them get there? ETC quickly rose to the top of our list as a potential partner. They provide a great service to us, and they also cover a vast majority of our territory with fiber. We believe this partnership will give us vast improved communications between our facilities, such as our substations and our new automated distribution equipment that we are currently deploying to help the reliability for our members. We believe this project will be initial investment for around $6.5 to $7 million for Amicalola. For us to build out this network, it would probably cost us $20 to $25 million. The initial build will result in about 220 miles of new fiber across our territory. It will complete a 450 to 500 mile ring for our communication network and allow ETC to serve those new miles of fiber, around 220 on the initial build. It is a win-win for our members. We know that the lack of adequate internet access is a hardship in these rural areas. We are excited about working with ETC to help bridge that broadband divide, while at the same time improving our reliability for our members. We've worked on joint projects for many years with ETC and are happy to be a partner once again with a trusted and reliable provider like ETC. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jason Smith, Chief Operating Officer for ETC. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Todd. I had all these data points, but Todd stole them all already, so I'll just say thank you. Now, I do want to start and say a little bit about ETC. Some of you folks may not know about us. LJ Telephone was founded in 1903. We currently serve customers in Gilmer, Pickens, Fannin, and Cherokee counties in Georgia, as well as we have customers in Polk County, Tennessee. We have 2,708 miles of copper currently deployed, 2,010 miles of coaxial cable, and 652 miles of fiber optic cable in our network. I want to recognize our board of directors and our voting shareholders real quick. We have John Harrison is here with his wife, Kathy. Mary Ann Bowman is here, her husband, David. And Mr. Doug Harrison was unable to attend today. I just wanted to say a little bit, without this family's commitment to telecommunications, since their family purchased the company, their late father, Mr. Albert Harrison, in 1958, in particular without the continued commitment to rural broadband for the past 20 years, this really wouldn't have been possible. As Todd said, the deal came together. They needed 450, 500 miles. We already had around half of that. So, you know, if our shareholders had not been investing in fiber technology and we didn't have this network in place, it probably would not have made sense. So appreciate the family and all that they've done for this area. As Todd has already said, we're going to gain about 200 miles of new service territory out of this project. That's going to put us in new areas of Pickens, Cherokee, Dawson, and Lumpkin counties. We think it's going to pass about 6,000 homes. We hope this is just a start. This is going to help fund this expansion of broadband that, based on customer interest, we'll be able to continue to expand from there. So our goal is not to stop at this additional 250 miles or 220 miles, whatever it comes out to be, but to continue that based on customer interest. And we already have some pre-sales in some areas that we had been working on that this is going to allow us to build at this point. Total project, it's hard to put a number on. I think it could easily top 15 million when you take electronics, the existing fiber, the new transport, and then distribution. And it could well exceed that as we continue to grow. So very excited about that. Rural broadband is a topic now. It wasn't talked about a lot in the past. until the last several years, but it's a huge national issue. So we're really lucky in the state of Georgia that we have a legislature and in particularly Senator Steve Gooch and Representative Rick Jaspers who are here today that are huge proponents for seeing rural broadband deployed throughout the state. We think this is a partnership that should be replicated across the state. We hope that as we put this deal together and we come together, that other folks will see this and you'll see other companies work together as well. One last thought, I've pulled back the history books a little bit. ETC deployed its first fiber optic cable in 1990. So at the time, it was the future of voice transport. We connected from our central office to a connection at the railroad tracks in Talking Rock, Georgia, if everybody's familiar with that, with GTE, which later became Altel, which later became Windstream. 12 fibers. Probably there was some folks that thought that might have been 10 too many, but nobody would have thought 30 years later that we'd be deploying fiber directly to homes and businesses all across North Georgia. So we're here, we're excited. Again, we appreciate you guys being here, and that's really all I have to say. At this time, we'll call up Senator Steve Gooch, please.
Good morning. It's great to see everyone in a cool morning here in North Georgia, but I'd rather be here than anywhere else on the planet. I've spent the last 10 years in the state Senate representing you folks here in Gilmer County, and the rest of my district includes North Forsyth, Dawson, Lumpkin, White, Union, Fannin, of course Gilmer, and part of Pickens. And so a big part of that district is the Amicalola territory, which I'm a member of myself. Over in Dahlonega, I have a couple of accounts still with the Amicalola Electric. I'm also a member of Georgia Power. Living in downtown Dahlonega, I get my power at my home from Georgia Power, but I can tell you that I've always had a good service from Amicalola EMC, and I appreciate the hard work that all of your people do, and especially your linemen. Days and nights in the winter times on top of cold mountains with ice and snow, trees falling on power lines and phone cables. It's not easy for your men and women to do the jobs that they do, both in the power and the telecom industry, and we appreciate all that they do. They put their lives on the line for us citizens on a daily basis. And some of my board members here, Edward Tucker, of course, he and I go way back in politics, and of course Reggie and Kathy Bird, I've known them for many, many years. We appreciate your service to this organization as well. We spent a great deal of time at Atlanta working on issues that benefit and impact your businesses, and we appreciate all of the private contributions and the capital of the Harrisons. Thank you for your contribution to our communities over the years, and all of your monies and your family treasures to invest in North Georgia, to create jobs, but also to help bring industry and economic development to this region. But we have the pleasure of working with some great men and women at the Capitol that represent you while you're up here working. Jason Bragg, of course, he leads a team there at the Capitol working with the Georgia EMC and Dennis Chastain. I see Heather in the room and Elise. I don't know who else is here today, but y'all have a great team in Atlanta. Dennis, thank you for your leadership with the Georgia EMC in Atlanta. We've spent a great deal of time over the last 4 or 5 years working on this issue. I can tell you the internet access is one of the most important things that impacts us in rural America. We compare it, and I compare it a lot to the invention and the creation of the interstate highway system in the 50s and 60s when President Eisenhower funded the interstate system. Think about it. We didn't have these pretty 4-lane highways out here across America. Today you can get in a car or a truck and you can go anywhere in the United States in a matter of days. You couldn't do that 50, 60 years ago. The same today with the internet access. If you don't have internet access, you can't reach out across the world as a small business owner and do the kind of things that other people do that are in bigger cities. We see services in big cities that are gigabit services, and we didn't have that in rural Georgia, and we didn't have that in rural America, but we're making progress toward that at a rapid pace. Not as fast as some would like, because it takes millions and millions of dollars of investment to get there. But I think we are making good, steady progress, and we're moving the ball in the right direction. The passage of Senate Bill 2 that we passed 2 years ago authorizes the EMCs to get into the internet services, not necessarily to compete with good companies like ETC, but it gives them an opportunity to partner with them. And I believe partnerships, private-public partnerships, are key to providing some of these good services out in these rural areas. Some of the work that we did leading up to Senate Bill 2, we did study committees. We traveled the state. We heard from businesses. We heard from school systems, healthcare providers, and parents, all about the importance of having internet access. Little did we know 4 years ago when we were having those hearings that we would rely heavily on internet today for classrooms inside our homes. A lot of our children today are having to do online classes because they're not allowed to go back into the classrooms yet because of the pandemic. Even more reasons why we need internet access to the home. More than your standard 2 megabits of speed. That's not acceptable any longer. We have to be reaching higher for higher and higher speeds. 25 is a minimum, in my opinion. 1 gig is unbelievable. To have a gigabit of service to a home is incredible. And I think we're all going to get there someday. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take to get there. But through our studies, we learned from what other states were doing, and we experienced some of the same things here in Georgia that they had experienced in other parts of the country. But one thing that I'll always remember was the questions that I asked some of the other states. What was the most significant change that you made to state law that made the biggest impact on the internet access to your rural part of your state? Every person that I asked that around the country, the immediate response was authorizing your EMCs to deploy broadband services. That was the most important thing that they had done in their legislation. And so that led us to the creation and the passage of Senate Bill 2, which I'm proud to be the sponsor of in the Senate. And of course it passed the House and the governor signed it. That's just the beginning. There's a lot of work to be done. We've predicted unofficially that it could be as much as $1 billion of investment to truly fix the broadband needs of our state. And that's not only in the rural parts of our state, but also in the urban and the suburban areas as well. We have a good partnership with the Georgia EMC. We have good partnerships with companies like ETC and other cable providers. We have to continue to work together for the good of our citizens, and I believe we will be a successful state in that venture. But it's going to take patience, and I always encourage citizens when they call complaining about their service, you have to be patient. The progress is steady, not moving as fast as some would like, but I think we're going to get there. But thank you for allowing me to speak this morning and share a few words with you. I'm excited about our future in Georgia, and I'm excited about North Georgia, and it's because of the private companies such as ETC and, of course, Amicalola EMC for stepping up and making progress. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Rick Jaspers, the state representative here in Pickens County, but I just want to change just a little bit. We haven't talked about something that happened in our community 3 or 4 weeks ago, is this storm. And Todd, just from the regular folks that had their power out for a few days, and to Joey Fellows, I saw Joey here, and the linemen that worked so hard. Your board members know it. Getting the power back on in our area was a Herculean task, and y'all really did it and did well, and I appreciated that. Speaker Ralston would be the one speaking today, but he can't. He had surgery, and Speaker Ralston probably might be listening, and he's getting better. He had a pretty serious surgery, and he's sitting at home recovering. We're looking for him to getting back, because just as Senator Gooch talked about, this was his baby too. We're on the cutting edge of something here. Moultrie, as Amy Carter, was down there when Moultrie and their EMC did this a couple of weeks ago. I've been pushing Todd, when are we going to talk about it? Because they've been talking about this for, a year at least. And the Harrisons, thank y'all, because they've been working hard on it. And we wanted to be the first ones, but we weren't. But we're right there with it. And When Speaker Ralston created the Rural Development Council 4 years ago, we had our first meeting in Toccoa. This was the issue you heard loud and clear. I mean, there was no doubt that over the next 4 years, this was every meeting, and we had 40 different meetings over the last 4 years. I've been the chairman of the Rural Development Council for the last 2 years. It was everywhere. That was the thing. How are we going to address rural broadband? How are we going to put it out? How are we going to cooperate? I mean, everywhere across the state. It's been real neat to get to do that. You know, Speaker Ralston made that comment that everybody's used since then is you want to make sure your opportunity wasn't restricted by your zip code. And now that we have, I would also say, our census tract. Yes, she knows, and they've done so much work on it because that's been very important. You know, we've made it, across the state, they made it loud and clear that we needed better internet access, and it's something we started working on real quickly to make sure it got better all over the state. I knew that we could do it. You know, during the legislature with Senator Gooch and I, these issues aren't easy. You know, they're tedious and they're tense, and because you're taking and giving and taking and giving, and folks like Jason Bragg have just been great at cooperating with everybody and making it work out, and I appreciate it. You know, because we felt like Steve does that we're using the best of both parties, the technology that they have, the people that they have. We want to see that cooperation, want to see it move on. And I'm glad to say that I'm very proud that, my EMC, that I'm a member of, and the telephone company that I pay a bill to every month are the leaders in this. And and we're just happy to be there. But I was thinking about this morning. We had an ice storm here a little bit, or snow, excitement. So 2 days ago, we had a digital learning day. And, so the teachers are all working from home. And most of them, it seem like most of them, what I can tell, have good internet access. But of those 6,000 homes that you talked about, there's a significant number of those kids that did not do digital learning 2 days ago. They couldn't. So they're behind a day. They're behind more than a day. This will change that over time. And that's what I'm the chairman of the Education Committee right now, and knowing that, education has totally changed this past year into this, what we were talking about here. And board members, thank you for being on board and cooperating with the Todd and Harrison family. You also for making sure this happens, because it's changing North Georgia, and we're proud to be a part of it. And I just want to brag on my senator, because he's been a leader in this, as is Speaker Ralston, and I'm just proud to be here and be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm Dennis Chastain with Georgia EMC. We are the statewide trade association for the 41 EMCs in the state of Georgia, and it's a great day to be in North Georgia. I agree with Senator Gooch. Not any place I'd rather be than up here in these beautiful mountains on this crisp, cold morning. And we're here for a really special occasion, and that's to celebrate, literally celebrate this great partnership between two great companies that are local companies, homegrown companies who both have a great reputation for impeccable service and commitment to these communities up here that they serve. So I want to start by congratulating Todd and Jason on this great partnership. I want to congratulate the board of directors of Amicalola EMC and the Harrison family for your forward thinking to look at doing a partnership like this. When we started on this, and we know this is a gargantuan lift to solve the rural broadband problem across the state. There's not one size that fits all. There's no silver bullet, unfortunately, to solve this. But great partnerships like what we're here to celebrate today are really the type of thing that's going to move the needle. And just like in the 30s when the electric cooperatives were formed to fill a critical need to bring critical infrastructure of electricity to the rural areas, now in the 21st century, broadband is that critical need that everybody needs. We talked about distance learning, distance medicine, economic development. All those things are critical to have strong internet connections. And so these kind of partnerships, and I'm proud to say that the EMCs are doing other partnerships. It was mentioned a partnership down in Moultrie with Colquitt EMC. We've also had one with Carroll EMC, and then Diverse Power, who's over in the LaGrange area and serves down in southwest Georgia. They've gotten into the business this year and also serving rural areas down in southwest Georgia. So just really proud of this announcement today, and I do believe it's a model. I think it's a model that a lot of folks are going to follow as we go forward. So I think there's going to be exciting things to come. I think this is just the start, and look forward to seeing what's going to happen as we move into the future on this rural broadband issue. And with that, I think that concludes our program. So there are box lunches to the right. If you'll go into the room there, there's Chick-fil-A lunches, and just thank you all for being here today.